morning sun spilled over the city like a quiet promise, but for Rowan Hale, a single dad working double shifts as a repair technician in a downtown corporate tower, the day broke with a weight he could no longer shoulder. It happened in an instant, one glimpse, a flash of silver on a stranger's wrist, and the ground shifted beneath him. The bracelet was identical to the one his late wife, Alina, had cherished more than anything, a custom design he believed existed only in the world they had built together. And the man wearing it was not just anyone. It was Cyrus Velen, the famously distant, impossibly wealthy CEO of Velen Industries, walking through the lobby surrounded by guards. Rowan's heart slammed against his ribs. Why would the CEO have a bracelet like hers? Why now, 3 years after losing her? Why did it feel as if the universe had deliberately placed that painful reminder next to him? If you believe in kindness, second chances, and stories that reveal the truth in unexpected ways, then please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Hub. It helps more than you know. Rowan tried to shake the moment off, but the sight clung to him all morning as he worked through routine maintenance calls. The bracelet wasn't just jewelry. Alina had worn it on the day they first met, on their wedding day, and during her final moments when illness dimmed her smile but didn't take away her warmth. He had buried that bracelet with her, or so he had thought. He had stood at the casket himself. He had seen it. So how could this man, this CEO with an unshakable reputation for being cold, possess something so painfully intimate? Questions gnawed at him until they began shaping an ache he couldn't silence. Rowan wasn't bold by nature, but grief, confusion, and the sense of something terribly unfinished pushed him harder than pride or fear ever could. When he received a maintenance request directly from the executive floor, his pulse quickened. Maybe this was a coincidence. Maybe he was reading too much into emotion and memory. Maybe the world wasn't playing tricks on him. But when he stepped out of the elevator and saw Cyrus standing there with the same quiet intensity, and the bracelet still glinting faintly on his wrist, everything inside Rowan tightened. He went about his repairs mechanically, hands moving on instinct while his mind warred between restraint and desperation. Cyrus watched him, calm and uninterested at first, but gradually something softened. Maybe it was the way Rowan kept glancing at his wrist, trying not to stare. Maybe it was the trembling breath Rowan failed to hide. Whatever it was, Cyrus finally spoke, but not with irritation or authority. His voice carried something almost human. "Something on your mind?" Rowan swallowed. His throat burned. His voice cracked slightly as he managed to form the words. He didn't ask about money or fame or rumors swirling around the CEO's ruthless image. He asked only, "Where did you get that bracelet?" Cyrus looked down as if he'd forgotten he was wearing it. A long silence stretched between them, one that felt less like a pause and more like a door opening. Cyrus's jaw tightened, and his expression shifted into something unreadable yet deeply fragile. He stepped closer, lowered his voice, and said, "It wasn't mine originally." Rowan's breath caught. Tears burned behind his eyes, but he forced himself to listen. Cyrus said he had spent years searching for a woman he had never met, but who had impacted his life in a way she never knew. Years ago, during a medical emergency, he had been at the same clinic as a woman named Alina. She was there for her treatment. He was there urgently for his mother. In that crowded hallway, when panic overcame Cyrus as doctors rushed to stabilize his mother, Alina had stepped forward. She didn't know him, didn't know his status, didn't know he was wealthy or powerful. She simply placed her hand on his shoulder and told him he wasn't alone, that whatever happened, he would get through it. Her voice, he said, was the only warmth in a day filled with fear. And when his mother passed an hour later, Alina had quietly slipped the bracelet into his hand because his fingers wouldn't stop shaking, telling him to hold on to something gentle instead of pain. It wasn't a gift. It was a gesture of human connection, from a stranger with a heart that outshone her circumstances. Rowan couldn't breathe. The world blurred around him. Alina had never told him this story. She had never mentioned meeting a stranger in grief. She had never spoken of giving away her favorite bracelet. She must have ordered a duplicate afterward, hoping he'd never notice the original missing. She hadn't wanted to burden him, even while carrying her own battles. Cyrus continued. his voice now thick with emotion. He said he had worn the bracelet every day since. Not because of its beauty, but because it reminded him that even at his worst, kindness found him. That a woman with tired eyes and a soft smile had comforted a stranger without expecting anything back. He didn't know that woman had died. He didn't know she had left behind a husband raising a child alone. He didn't know the ripple she caused had come full circle. Rowan broke down. Not loudly, not dramatically, just quietly, like a man who had finally found the missing piece of a grief he couldn't name. Cyrus, the man no one believed capable of gentleness, reached out and gripped his shoulder in the same way Alina once had for him. Two men connected by one woman's kindness, bound by the proof that the smallest moments often leave the deepest marks. As the sun warmed the executive floor, Rowan suddenly realized something beautiful. Alina hadn't left him completely. She had left traces of her kindness behind, living quietly in the hearts of people he never knew she touched. The bracelet wasn't a stolen memory, it was a shared one, proof that her life had mattered beyond the walls of their home. If this story touched your heart even a little, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Kindness Hub. Your support keeps these stories alive. Before we end, please comment, kindness lives on.